Okay, now let's also look at, in 2011, we did have a false start. I think April 2nd was the date fixed for the elections.
For National Assembly elections.
Exactly, and it was shifted by another week or so because INEC felt that certain logistics weren't in place and it cancelled the elections midway, even when voting had started in some other areas. Yeah. If such a situation happens this year, how do you think that the opposition party might react, considering their stance that elections should not be shifted for whatever reason?
Well, the opposition parties, of course, are just they're just part of the electoral process, and I expect that they will be defending their own interests. For whatever reason, maybe they feel that the elections continuing as scheduled is in their own interest, and if that is so, okay. But what I am saying is that irrespective of the interests of particular participants in the electoral process, the process itself, must be allowed to be credible, and part of the credibility is that everything necessary must at least be reasonably in place. I think that if we go to the point where INEC might have to take a decision to shift, maybe by 1 week or whatever, and the facts are there, even the opposition parties or the ruling party, I believe everybody, and even the electorate, we will all see the reason for that. In 2011, some of us were already in the polling centers when the shift came, and nobody reacted negatively. In fact,
but a lot of people were disappointed. And then INEC's credibility was also questioned on that day as well.
The INEC leadership that we have now had just come into office, and going by the history of the previous INEC, it was like, are we still in this kind of situation? But ultimately, they were able to manage it. What I am saying is that things should be allowed to happen normally and administratively, If there is any reason for it, it's not only INEC that we know, and it's not even any security advisor. In fact, that security advisor should tender apologies to Nigerians for leaving his brief, which he has not done well, to come into elections. So when there is a reason to shift elections, all of us will see it. It's not anybody, being a philosopher king telling us that this thing has to be shifted.
Some people will say it was not outside his purview, that if people are disenfranchised, they could create a security risk.
More than the situation we already know that he cannot handle. More than the situation we already know he cannot handle. Will elections holding or not holding make Boko Haram less powerful or more powerful?
You do not think that situation...
No, I am saying that the man has to explain to Nigerians why he has to say, because he's just overheating the polity unnecessarily.
You don't think that could actually aggravate the situation?
He shouldn't have even been the person to talk to Nigerians about that. INEC has capable people, and I think that INEC is doing a very good job. If, for instance, they have any problem along the way, INEC will inform us, and all of us will see it. INEC cannot even take it for granted that they will just talk down on us, as if we are no people. If, for instance, the PVCs are having problems up to that, we will all see it. And if it is based on that, we will all know why this decision is coming out. But the era of some military middle officers coming to talk down on Nigerians about things that concern all of us is gone. That man should tender apologies to Nigerians for the embarrassment he has given us.
Well, you see it as talking down. Others think it's just expressing his
opinion.
opinion.
It's not expressing any view because nothing led to it. But he just came from nowhere to tell us that. And he was
a while ago, you just said that the security agencies should speak up and tell us the true situation of things. Yes. And if he is spoken up already.
If we are talking about the Northeast, but not that PVC, he was talking about PVCs not being distributed. Who is he to talk about PVCs? He himself, can he show us his voting card?
There could be some.
If I challenge Sambo Dasuki to show us his voting card, he may not have it. He may not have it.
Doesn't that buttress his point?
He may not have even gone to register in the first instance.
How do you know?
As I'm saying may, I am putting it as a possibility. But I'm saying that such a man who is just talking, who is just giving so much emphasis to something that should ordinarily come, administratively.
But the thing is, he's not just such a man. He's a national security advisor.
That's
why
there is so much
there's a lot of
work
commentary.
there is so much work for the national security advisor to do, and I can authoritatively say that he has not done much.
If you have not, if you
should face
just a minute,
his responsibility and let INEC face their responsibility.
If you had not collected your PVC,
Yes.
would you be relaxed and easygoing about it?
There are elections in Nigeria that I couldn't vote.
If you had not collected,
I am saying,
would it matter to you?
It will matter to me.
So if other people say, well, I've not, and I need to get mine, what's wrong with that?
Is an INEC problem. Is a problem concerning the electorate.
But his view doesn't mean that it has to be
He's talking
shifted.
down on us from a certain standpoint of national security advisor. When I am saying that, from that standpoint, he should really tell us about other things that we need to hear. For instance, telling us the situation on the ground in the Northeast. We don't know. And I expect that is what he should be telling us.
All right.
Is the government losing ground, for instance?
In terms of, well, maybe if you check the papers, you get more, maybe some current perspective on what's going on there, but not to take away from all of that.
Yes.
In terms of logistics,
Yes.
you said you've done some work on elections generally.
Voter participation.
What do you see, what have you seen about logistics for elections previously and elections that have happened recently with this INEC, and how do you see that playing out, if it will have any bearing on these forthcoming elections?
See, Professor Jega has told us that the government has given him all the funds that he requested for and that he needs. So if he has said that, I should think that that also translates to the fact that maybe they have procured all the logistics that they need. But I have also seen that in previous elections, our problem, except maybe in the Iwu era, I mean the 2007 election specifically, when some of the voting materials were printed a day before, in fact he said even a night before the elections. Apart from that, I have seen all through Nigeria's elections that the problem has not been about procurement of logistics, about materials. It has been, the problem has been with the distribution of these materials. That is, and we cannot really say much on it until maybe a day or two, because for security reasons they can't ship these things to where they will be collected from by now.
While you haven't you heard about people who were complaining about how logistics were deployed when they were collecting their permanent voter cards, and how they think that some areas need to be improved upon before the main elections?
We have been talking about PVCs, and with the problems about PVCs.
We're talking about logistics.
No, we are talking.
There are logistics when you're picking up your PVC. You just went and picked up yours and went away?
Well, I just picked mine.
Well, some others say, and they tell us, and from what we've seen, which they think if it's not addressed, it may affect the elections. People donating generators, buying fuel, donating shelter, buses to INEC officials. Is that not an issue for you?
This is exactly what I've been leading to. That ordinarily INEC could have all these things. But then, these things will not be available on the morning of voting. You get to voting centers, you don't see tables for the INEC officials. Then they will now tell you that materials are still being inspected, and before you know it, it is 10, it is 11, it is 12, and all that. So I don't know what method that the INEC will use this time around, because previously they have been hinging all these situations on security precautions. That is that they will not take these materials near the place of election before time, because some people could hijack some of them.
But I thought they laid out fear, saying ballot papers are being color-coded. If you snatch one here, ballot paper, don't think you can use it elsewhere.
What if you snatch it so that nobody uses it? It's also a possibility. So these are the things that they have to really work on. And as I've said, looking through previous elections, it will be difficult for outsiders, for us outsiders, to really talk conclusively about logistics. Because the one I can talk about so much is about procurement, about getting to have these things in place. I know that INEC has appointed voting officials. INEC has, INEC says they have all the money, which means they have, purchased most of the materials they need. How they will now deploy these things and in time is what we need to see. But I think that we don't lose anything by reminding INEC that they must come up with a winning strategy this time. A strategy that will ensure security, but still ensure availability of these materials on voting day.
Even as outsiders. Even as outsiders.
Outsiders.
You use that word too much. Why do you see yourself as an outsider?
Well, I think these things should be available.
All right, thank you for coming on. Dr. Emmanuel Onah is a political scientist. We'll take a moment and go for the headlines now with Anne Waudo.